Hi there. My name is Paul Zanicke from DAI-Labor at Technical University of Berlin, and I'm going to give you a quick overview about our Smart Health Assistant. The Smart Health Assistant is available as an application for your web browser, so you can use it at home, virtually anywhere, in any room that you have. For example, on your nice big TV screen, and you can also use it on your mobile device. So it can always be with you and really help you in your everyday maintaining of your health. There are several assistants in the system. The most important ones are the supervision assistant, the activity assistant, and the nutrition assistant. The supervision assistant will do two things. One thing is that he will allow you to input the goals that you have, so your health goals. You can input these if you like to, completely on your own, but you can also let the assistant help you with deciding which values are good values for your health goals. And as soon as you have entered your health goals, he will constantly track your progress and will constantly display to you how well you are faring in reaching your goals. So for example, you have these charts up here where you have different goal values, like for example your body fat ratio or your weight or your BMI, which is the body mass index, and you have this color-coded area in green which shows you your goal area. So you can just take a very quick glance and see that you're currently doing good, but you still have some way to go to reach your goal. All of these functionality and all of these graphs, you can also use and see them on the run or on the go when you use your mobile device. So you can also see, for example, your overall health status in this health traffic lights up here when you just stand somewhere in the subway and have a minute to spare and just want to get a quick overview about your current health status. The other two assistants, the activity and nutrition assistants, come into play when it goes to helping you reach your health goals. So they both create plans, training plans and nutrition plans, and they will also track your daily activities. In the case of the activity assistant, it's the steps that you take in everyday life using the mobile device again, which has a built-in step counter app that will basically monitor every single step you do in your everyday life and give you one activity point for each. And also the nutrition assistant has a mobile nutrition diary where you can enter all the stuff that you eat in the course of the day. And then he will calculate the overall score for you, an overall activity points score, and show this in a graphical manner with this diagram over here. We see that we have collected basically one fourth of our training activity points with training, essentially 1/4 by everyday activity, that means walking around basically. A little less than 1/4 by adhering to your nutrition schedule, and a little more than 1/4 still to go. So you have still to reach it. We have put quite some work into making all this stuff as motivating as it can get. So one mechanism that we are using here, for example, is achievement systems that we borrow from computer games. So you see over here, where you have all the numeric values about your activity points, you see that the user has just collected one of these achievements. In this case, it's a golden dedication medal that you get as soon as you collect a total of 50,000 activity points. So here we have not only short-term motivation throughout the day, but also longer-term motivation, which is very important for health goals, because most health goals will be longer-term, because it's going to take quite some time, for example, to lose a significant amount of weight and also to keep the lower weight that you have. This is often the more difficult step, actually. So to round all this up, I'm just going to give you a quick overview about one of our training modules. So the system also supports you while training, and this is one of them. We are using Google Earth technology to drive this virtual bicycle race, where you can basically define a racing track anywhere you want in the world and then just race there in a virtual manner or even in reality. So you can just hop on your training exercise bicycle or on your real bicycle, which is strapped to one of these rolling trainers, and then you can play alone or you can play against other players in the multiplayer mode. You can race against your own historic performances, or for example, you can also race against the high score of some other user. Something that's also very interesting is that we also control this ambient lighting system here. So when the application started, we have this nice blue light, and when we start a race, we will see that we also get some kind of a racing light. Here we are in the racing lobby, where you can very quickly select what you actually want to do. So I want to do a quick race in one of my favorite tracks, which is a tour through the historic center of Berlin with all the nice historic buildings, Reichstag and stuff like that. Here I can select the device that I would like to use. I'm just going to use the ergometer. I can enter my name and then just start. So what happens now is that this race is initialized actually with 2 players. There we see the traffic lights in red. So and now we can start. So I am the blue player, and the green player is basically a recording of my own performance from last week. So I can, what I said before, I can just race against myself. So basically this is the documentation function that you have. That is a cornerstone of such a preventive health service, just in a little different fashion and in a little different form. And there we have the Brandenburger Gate coming up. And you see we also get some information about the Brandenburger Gate. So it's not just about training our body, but it's also about training our mind, because we can just read about all the places that we are going past. Actually, this is data from Wikipedia that we are also displaying here on the mini-map. And there are also other very interesting features. Here, for example, the system is displaying my current pulse. We have a pulse interval that we should train in, that the the activity assistant calculated for us. And we can, for example, activate a virtual automatic gear switcher that will switch the gears of our virtual bicycle according to our pulse in relation to our pulse goals. So if our pulse is too low, it will automatically switch the virtual gear of my bicycle up a notch, or if my pulse gets too high, it will switch it down. It also displays the activity points that we talked about before, and we also see that the activity points just increased by quite a bit with this little racing that I did. And if I now cancel this race, we see another functionality on the top left, which is also for motivation, which is a high score mechanism. So every track basically has its own high score, and you can also let yourselves get motivated by trying to reach the highest high score or to get into the high score. So when I switch back to the main portal page, it takes a moment because the system is analyzing all the data, because in the background it's actually a medical training unit. It looks like a game, it basically is a game, but at its core it's a medical training unit, and it will log all the data while I do the racing, while I do my gaming, and then if I'm finished, or as I'm finished, it will process all the data, and the different assistants will be able to use all this data. Coming back to our starting page, or to our portal page, we see that the assistant will just display my past performance to me on the starting page. We also have a history section that will record all data that has been stored about me, where I can, for example, take a glimpse on all the races that I did, on all the weight measurements that I performed, etc., etc. And the activity assistant will also take this past activity and use it when it creates the training plan for next week to adapt the pulse interval a little better to my individual profile. So the system will actually try to learn a little and to adapt itself And the more data it gets, the better it can adapt itself to me as an individual user. So, thank you for your time, and I hope you enjoyed this little overview about our system.